Shishkin should be the new world champion, not Scull. Another victim of the either one could have won by a round. Surely, many will say that in this case, as in so many others, the word robbery should not be used, and that it should be reserved only for huge injustices. But it is precisely because of considerations like these that controversial decisions in boxing will never end. The powers that be can justify any result with great ease by simply saying that the score could have been 115 to 113 for either fighter. This is not a robbery. The same is being said about last Saturday's fight between Russian Vladimir Shishkin and Cuban William Scull, world championship for the vacant IBF super middleweight belt, in which the former deserved to win. The vast majority of fans so considered it too, but which ended with a victory for the latter by unanimous decision and scorecards of 115 to 113, 116 to 113, and 116 to 112. Bastion Boxing score is 115 to 112 in favor of Shishkin. Scull, who was fighting at home and on a card organized by his promoter, was initially successful using some jabs and counterpunches, but later Shishkin, once he had measured the distance and timed his opponent, began to work much more consistently with the jab, the 1-2, and with combinations of hooks to the body. The Russian did not offer an extraordinary performance, but he won the rounds with consistency against Scull, who was imprecise, irresolute, and inactive with his hands. When the difference seemed to be very wide in favor of Shishkin, Scull reacted trying to avoid defeat and, holding his ground a little more and using his hands more frequently, he was able to land left hooks, jabs, and some explosive counters in straight right or uppercut. But although this allowed Scull to close the gap, Shishkin seemed to definitely secure victory in the last round, in which he hurt his opponent with a double jab, forcing the Cuban to run, clinch, something he did too much throughout the bout, and shamelessly throw away his mouthpiece to buy time. This should have resulted in a point deduction. In athletics, it would be impossible for the second runner to cross the finish line to win a 100-meter race if he had arrived a few hundredths of a second later than the first. In soccer, it would be absurd for a team to lose despite a final 0-1 in their favor. In basketball, it could not be said that the buzzer beater should not be counted in the final score because the match had remained 110-110 before that last action. But in boxing, week after week unfair results are justified with sentences as, "It was close. Either boxer could have won by 115-113." Even though the vast majority has seen the same fighter win, and there are reasons to think that his final defeat is simply due to the interests of promoters, commissions, organizations, bookmakers, etc. Either way, while Shishkin's team has appealed the result, it would not be surprising if it were upheld, as it almost always is, and Scull now tries to reach a fight with Canelo Alvarez, who holds the other 3 belts in the division. Thanks for watching. More info at our website.